Hi, welcome to part 2 of the bookshelf tour. Today I'm going to start with my non-fiction books and history books. First I have The Little Book of Paris, and this is filled with images of buildings and places in Paris that are either non-existent anymore or that you can still visit today. Next I have The Victorian Studies Reader by Kelly Boyd en Rohan McWilliam. This is a Dutch book en toen brak de pleuris uit by Owen Lammertink and Mayra Merkens. This is about the Netherlands during the 1850s in a period that was marked by poverty and sickness. Next I have a Dutch version of the biography of Da Vinci by Walter Isaacson. Highly recommend, really good. Then I have The Lady's Book of Etiquette and Manual of Politeness by Florence Hartley, and I reviewed this book. If you want to, you can check it out. The Cambridge Introduction to Narrative by H. Porter Abbott, a biography of Louis XIV, the Sun King, during his time in Versailles. Some books about the French Revolution, so this is part 1 and this is part 2. Letters of History. This is a book that is filled with images of handwriting. For example, we have Hemingway and then we have a letter that he wrote. So we always have famous people and their handwriting, which is really cool. A Summer of Hummingbirds by Christopher Banfi. Astonishing Things. These are the paintings and drawings of Victor Hugo. A biography of Robert Schumann, and I just finished this one and it was really good. This is a book of paintings. It's just very beautiful to browse through. Then I have another biography of Louis XIV by Philippe Mansell. This is a book about the history of the Notre Dame Cathedral by Ken Follett. City of Light, City of Poison by Holly Tucker. This is about the city of Paris during the Ancien Régime. A biography of Victor Hugo in French. A biography of Victor Hugo in English. This is a very good one. It's by Graham Robb. I highly recommend. The Black Count by Tom Rice. This is a great one as well. It's about the father of Alexandre Dumas and his time in the army. Another one without a dust jacket, I'm sorry, The Man Who Broke Napoleon's Coats by Mark Urban. And this is an incredible one. The Letters of Gustave Flaubert by Francis Steegmuller. This is so good. Look at all my tabs. I'm serious, this is a nightstand book. This was so good. If you love books and classic literature and writing and beautiful prose, then please read this. Mrs. Robinson's Disgrace by Kate Summerscale. Then I have How Romantics and Victorians Organized Information by Gillian Hess. I also reviewed this on my channel. A biography of Oscar Wilde by Richard Ellman. I really enjoyed it. Henry V by Dan Jones. A biography by Guérin of Charlotte Bronte. On Writing by Stephen King. The Story Solution by Eric Adson. The Anatomy of Story by John Truby. How to Be a Victorian by Ruth Goodman. I also reviewed this on the channel. The Universe by Stephen Hawking. The Penguin Classics book. This is a book with all of the Penguin Classics in it. And I did something crazy. I marked all the books that I want to read. And when I read it, I can take off the sticker, but it kind of looks like this. Here you can see what it looks like. I did browse through it on one of my videos, so if you're interested, go and check that out. And one of my greatest treasures in my closet is the fantastic Gustave Doré, his illustrations. These are phenomenal, and this edition is also just so amazing to have on the shelf. There are colored images and black and whites. They're just so beautiful. illustrated a lot of classic literature, like for example the Divine Comedy. So if you like art, you should get this. Here we have the complete works of Racine, Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, Fables by Jean de La Fontaine, and these editions are, I think, my most beautiful editions that I have. So I have volume 1 and volume 2. I think there are 5 volumes, so I don't have them all. Here is Stendhal, The Red and the Black in French, Le Rouge et le Noir, Diderot, The Nun, Dangerous Liaison by Choderlos de Laclos, A Sentimental Education by Gustave Flaubert, The Flowers of Evil by Baudelaire, and Contemplations by Rousseau. Beautiful edition of Gray's Anatomy, Pride and Prejudice in French, a complete collection of the works of Jane Austen, a complete collection of the works of Oscar Wilde, Tess of the D'Urbervilles by Thomas Hardy, masterpieces of Guy de Maupassant, so some short stories and Bellamy, Silas Marner and other short stories by George Eliot. Next I have Ivanhoe and Pendennis in the same editions. So Ivanhoe is by Sir Walter Scott and Pendennis is by Thackeray. They are stunning. I actually haven't read Pendennis, but I really want to. The works of Tennyson in a very old, battered edition. Milton's Poetical Works and Life by Stabbing. L'Argent, The Money by Émile Zola. Far from the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy, The Lily of the Valley by Honoré de Balzac. And here are more Balzac editions, Le Pot de Chagrin and Eugénie Grandet, Sappho by Daudet, a Spanish edition of Don Quixote by Miguel de Cervantes, Hard Times and Pictures from Italy by Charles Dickens. I bought this one in London. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Jules Verne. A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. Great Expectations in 2 volumes by Charles Dickens. These are works of Chateaubriand and Lamartine, 2 authors that Victor Hugo really loved. And Moll Flanders by Daniel Defoe. I actually haven't read Moll Flanders yet. Okay, let's move to the top shelf. We have The Binding by Bridget Collins, which I recently reread for the 2nd time. The Honey and the Sting by E.C. Fremantle. The Betrayals by Bridget Collins. Wayward by Amelia Hart. The Whispering Muse by Laura Purcell. Watership Down by Richard Adams. If We Were Villains by, M.L. Ryo. Pandora by Susan Stokes Chapman. I love this cover. It's also a very good book. Has sprayed edges. Caligula by, Simon Turney. Jeanne by Catherine J. Chen. This comes with a dust jacket that I took off, and this is a historical fiction novel about Joan of Arc. Next we have Godmersham Park by Jill Hornby. I also did a review on my channel. The Last Hours in Paris by Ruth Drouart. And Kristen Hanna's The Nightingale. The Sin Eater by Megan Campisi. And Mrs. England by Stacey Halls. The final 3 books on this shelf. The Foundling by Stacey Halls. So a lot of historical fictions. The Warlow Experiment by Alex Nathan. This one's a very dark novel and I love it. 1,000 Splendid Suns in Flemish, Dutch by Khaled Hosseini. And then I will be taking you with me to the far right section of my bookshelf. This is Voltaire that I also got in the Pantheon in Paris. So let's go through my Chiltern classics. First we have Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. Then we have Emma by Jane Austen. Mansfield Park by Jane Austen. Jane Eyre by Charlotte Brontë, The Secret Garden by Burnett, Madame Bovary by Gustave Flaubert, The Phantom of the Opera again by Gaston Leroux, The Tenants of Wildfell Hall by Anne Brontë, The Picture of Dorian Gray again by Oscar Wilde, The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne, and those were my children classics. I love those editions so much. They're beautiful, they're easy to read. Anyway, next I have The Man in the Iron Mask by Alexandre Dumas. Be careful because this is part 5 or part 6 even in the series of the Musketeers. And we have Shirley by Charlotte Brontë, a novel that I didn't finish. Thomas Hardy, A Pair of Blue Eyes. This is the book by Thomas Hardy that I enjoyed the most up until now, and I've read about 4 novels or 5 novels by him. The Well-Beloved by Thomas Hardy, Jude the Obscure by Thomas Hardy. Okay, next I have Cousin Bet by Balzac, Three Musketeers by Alexandre Dumas, and Villette by Charlotte Brontë. Down here I have a selection of my own novels. I will quickly show them to you, but the only one that you can read because it's in English is The Painter's Muse. This is my English novel, and it is available on Amazon if you are interested. And then I'll quickly show you my other Dutch novels. Then I have some books by Stephen Fry. We have Troy and Heroes and Mythos. I read the first part and it was really good, so I'm excited to read the other parts as well. And then his final book, Odyssey. I couldn't find the other ones in hardcover, and I'm glad that I was still able to get this one. Oh, that's pretty. I like having hardcover copies because I just like holding them in my hands much more than a paperback. And finally I have another The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. But this is a new edition. It's an uncensored edition and it comes with notes and images and commentary, and I am very, very excited to read this. I also have some Flemish books from a Flemish author that I got as a gift when I did a book signing event, and I gave a workshop, and they gifted me these 2 books that I still have to read, but they're in Flemish and they are written by Willem Elschot. I will wrap up the video here and I will see you in part 3.